But in reflecting back, certainly it's appropriate to ask questions. And so my question is, knowing what happened at that time, have you had a conversation with her? Was there any inappropriate activity during that time?
You know, at the time, nothing was known and nothing untoward occurred. And then there was no further contact with him. So I can't really speculate about that further.
We can all agree, I think, that Jeffrey Epstein was a monster, that he was empowered or enabled by Ghislaine Maxwell. I think we can all agree with that, correct?
I can't characterize their relationship. I think you can agree that he committed crimes. He was not fully held accountable for them, which could have stopped his predatory practices, perhaps, that continued for quite some time afterwards. And then he was finally indicted for serious crimes, and he was in prison, and then he mysteriously died. And with her, she was, finally indicted, tried, and convicted. And I think you have to look at it in the chronological way in which it unfolded.
Yeah, I think that there's varying degrees of culpability. She was certainly going beyond just being silent in her knowledge about the horrible acts that he was doing, but she was actually enabling him.
That's what she was convicted of.
That's right. But if she had not been enabling, if she had not been taking those steps, if she had just been silent,
Are you asking me to speculate?
I'm asking, would you agree that she would be culpable as well, just in her silence?
I have no information about that, so I'm not going to speculate.
Okay. All right. With that, I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Representative.
This is sort of like off subject, but didn't you all require in the latest defense authorization that the UFO information has to be?
Out.
What?
They ripped it out. They killed it.
Oh, I thought
was-
that had gone through.
That was my
No.
amendment, and it got ripped out.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't know that, so thank you for enlightening me, okay.
Yeah, they've been killing it.
I didn't know that.
Next up's Representative Perry from Pennsylvania.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary.
Good
Live
afternoon.
in a particularly beautiful part of the country.
Thank you.
Good for you.
It's very pretty up here.
Madam Secretary, once it was revealed publicly that you and President Clinton were connected, I'm going to use that term, to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, did you discuss the subject with your daughter?
I'm, not going to, talk about what I did or didn't discuss with family members, but I can tell you that it was something that was of grave concern to us.
I imagine it was, and I know that look, I think we could probably get a long way here if we could discuss or have a view into your discussion with your husband. I suspect you're going to object to that.
You're
So-
right, Congressman. Thank you for,
But it seems
granting me that.
like these are reasonable questions. Did your,
Well, but
did
Congressman,
your daughter discuss it with you?
Well, we were horrified by what was later,
Horrified in what way? We were all horrified of what we learned about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, the victims.
right.
But
Right.
did you discuss with your daughter, when you say you were horrified, the connection with her father and this Epstein episode?
My husband's connection with Jeffrey Epstein began and ended before he was charged with any
I
crime.
get that, but I
And
said.
so in retrospect, we all say, oh my gosh, that was like horrific. And why didn't more people know? And why didn't more people speak out at the time? But I think the chronology is critically important. If we were talking about post-crime, that there was a continuing connection with him, that would be unacceptable.
Right.
But it ended before he was charged.
I understand that, which is why I particularly said, once it was revealed publicly, I get that continuing to be involved with someone like that after it was knowledgeable to everyone would be almost an unforgivable sin. However, I'm married too, not as long as you, ma'am, but there would be questions in my family, even if it went back before we were married, there would be questions. And so,
Congressman, I don't interrupt you, but I don't understand the question.
so my question is, did your daughter discuss it with you? That was my particular question.
I think, I can't recollect any specific conversation, but of course we discussed the horrific crimes that he was accused of.
But nothing about her father's connection to it.
Her father's connection began and ended
Okay?
before he was charged with crimes.
Did your daughter ever mention to you that she discussed this matter with her father?
I don't recollect that.
Did you see the photos of your husband with young girls related to Jeffrey Epstein?
I saw the few photos that my lawyers showed me.
Did you also see the photos of your husband with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell?
I have seen such photos.
They're out there, right?
Yes.
I imagine you're familiar, but I just want to make sure. Since seeing these photos, have any questions about the content, locations, general circumstances come to your mind?
No, that it was unfortunate that he ever, did anything with Jeffrey Epstein.
There was no curiosity.
Excuse me, are you asking for an opinion? Or is there a fact that she can share with you that would be helpful? in
Well,
the
I did say,
investigation
were
and the
there any questions?
legislative purpose of the
So
committee?
if I saw, I'll give you an example. If I saw a picture with my wife, it's just really hard to be relevant. If my wife saw pictures with me as a grown man, hanging out with obviously or close to underage women, regardless if it was before we were married or not, it would be a question. And so what I'm asking you is, did any questions regarding those photographs come to your mind?
I am going to, just as clearly as I can state, say I don't see the relevance of your question, and I am not going to talk about conversations that I had with my family, especially my husband.
And for clarity, are you all asserting spousal privilege?
For clarity, we were looking for the relevance of her conversations with her husband and what she might have thought about her conversations with the husband. How does that help further the legislative purpose of this committee as they investigate the prosecution and investigations of Jeffrey Epstein?
I think Mr. Perry's questions directly relate
To
to
her
the-
daughter?
To what,
her
my state of
husband?
mind?
Her
What-
state of
what-
mind?
What possible relevance does my state of mind have to your investigation?
I believe Mr. Perry's questions, and Mr. Perry can step in if he would like, are directly related to her relationships
With her husband?
with Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell, and her opinions as it relates to
She's
her
here to give
husband's
facts, not opinions.
relationships.
I am not here to give opinions. I'm here to answer factual questions, and I have answered
Okay.
for many hours now that I had no relationship because I never met the guy to my best recollection.
And I'm not
with Jeffrey
implying,
Epstein.
and you shouldn't aver that I've made that connection. I'm not implying that.
Well, yeah, okay.
You're still married, Madam Secretary, still
That's
married,
very
correct?
true.
Okay. Can you identify the man in these photos?
I can't see them across the table.
Let me get him a little closer.
Let's talk about this, because anytime the name Jeffrey Epstein comes back into the spotlight, it's not just another story. It's a gravity event. It pulls in politics, power, accountability, and all the unanswered questions people feel never really went away. And now, Hillary Clinton is being pressed again, specifically about her husband's past association with Epstein. Her response? Clear, but carefully controlled. She says at the time, she knew nothing about any inappropriate behavior connected to Epstein, nothing that would have raised alarms, nothing that suggested the scale of what we now know. And she draws a line there, because from her perspective, the timeline matters. The association, she implies, ended before Epstein's crimes became widely known. And in that framing, what wasn't known then can't be judged by what we know now. But here's where the tension comes in. Because today, we do know. And once that information exists, people start looking backward, re-examining photos, connections, timelines, asking, what did people see? What did they miss? And what should have raised questions? Clinton acknowledges something important here. Epstein was a monster. No ambiguity, no soft language. And she also points to Ghislaine Maxwell as a key enabler, someone who facilitated, organized, and helped sustain the network that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue. So there's condemnation of the crimes. There's recognition of the severity. But when it comes to her husband's specific connection, that's where things tighten. She declines to go into detail about conversations with Bill Clinton. She avoids expanding on family discussions. And when questions come up about photos, including images of her husband with Epstein or individuals linked to him, she essentially says there's nothing new to add. No new questions. No new revelations. And that's the moment where you can feel the shift. Because from a political standpoint, this is containment. Stay within known facts. Avoid speculation. Don't expand the story beyond what's already established. But from a public standpoint, that approach doesn't always land cleanly, because Epstein is one of those cases where people don't feel like they ever got full closure. There's a lingering sense that not everything has been fully explained, especially when it comes to powerful figures who crossed paths with him. So when answers are limited, when details are withheld, when conversations are described but not shared, that vacuum gets filled with questions, with suspicion, with continued scrutiny. And you even saw it in the moment itself. The conversation starts to press, starts to dig, and then suddenly it shifts. A different question, a different topic, defense authorization, move on. And that pivot? That's telling, because it shows how uncomfortable and how politically charged this topic still is. So zoom out, and here's the reality. Hillary Clinton is doing what experienced political figures do in moments like this: acknowledge what's undeniable, limit what's uncertain, and avoid feeding the fire further. But the Epstein story doesn't fade easily, because it's not just about who knew what. It's about whether the full picture has ever really been seen. And until people feel like it has, these questions don't go away.